Joining me now on the Daily Ledger Page 5 beat from Nashville, Tennessee, economic analyst, hedge fund manager, and contributor to Forbes and other publications, Thomas Landstreet. Tom, in other words, what I'm saying is effectively our economy is almost a war economy. We're on a war footing to a degree when you look at what's going on with China, the sanctions war going on there, the tariff war, if you will, and then we have the sanctions war going on the other front in Iran. And so this is kind of an amazing development when you consider where the markets are, which is in record territory. I think last I checked, markets went through the roof today.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, but you can blame the Federal Reserve for that.
Right.
Continuing to provide liquidity to the global financial system by way of the dollar injection. So they've inflated assets once again. And by the way, pardon the pun, but Iran and other unfriendly nations in the Middle East used to have us over a barrel of oil, and they don't anymore. And that's partly because of the deregulatory regime of Donald Trump, something we've talked about. He's literally allowing us to drill for oil on U.S. territories. And by the way, that's a trend available in the whole Western Hemisphere. You could look at Brazil's huge offshore oil auctions coming. All of that empowers us to fight belligerents in the Middle East that used to really have us over a barrel. It's pretty impressive, and now's the time.
Energy and independence, effectively, is what we have now. So you mentioned the Fed, and this week they're expected to lower rates. I guess they're doing so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess they're doing so partly because of the liquidity problem that's happening between the banks when they lend money. There's a liquidity problem. I mean, it's a very real problem. But the problem is lowering rates, Tom, is going to fuel more debt. Do we really need more debt on debt?
Well, certainly it's damned if you do, damned if you don't here. And certainly the debt that we've taken on, which is, by the way, the largest ever in history in regard to the corporate debt. We've talked about it. Federal debt, we've talked about that. But when you have this much debt in the system, it takes liquidity to feed it. And, otherwise we'll have a downturn, especially in the midst of a trade war. If we have a downturn here, Graham, there's going to be a lot of bankruptcies. And so the Federal Reserve has said they've got the markets back. They're not going to cause a recession, which, by the way, they have in the past. I think it's right for them to cut rates. Honestly, they got too high relative to those in the rest of the world. There was no inflation. I don't think we'll see any inflation anytime soon. But no, look, the baby boomers are retiring. 75 million baby boomers are retiring, 10,000 a day. They're drawing upon the Social Security system, which is $1 trillion a year underwater. And the federal government operating budget is $1 trillion a year underwater. The Fed has to feed this system with more cash. They're stuck. They're just stuck.
And on the other hand, like you said at the outset there, damned if you, damned if you don't, if they start raising rates, and it's really not an if, it's a when they start raising rates, what is that going to do to the debt service, the federal government debt service? Frankly, I don't know what it's going to do. It's going to be an ugly situation. Go ahead real quick. 10 seconds left. Go.
Well, it goes up hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Right. Because all of our debt is in short-term treasuries.
Right.
You raise a quarter point, 50 basis points, our debt service goes up hundreds of millions of dollars. That adds to the deficit too.
All right, so what does it look like? I guess it looks like Greece, unfortunately, but that's where we're headed. Thomas, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.